Hello everyone, I'm back again. It's me, Michael Scott, talking in the second live Q&A because I think we just had a malfunction of the Facebook app and I got completely cut off. So hopefully a number of you will be able to find your way back here, and we should hopefully be able to at least put this section of the Q&A up on the Facebook page for people to watch, even if the last section, the majority of the Q&A, has completely and utterly disappeared. I'm so sorry that we've had this technological failure. The first time it's ever happened in our 4 years of doing live Q&A. But who knows? Here we are again. Some people are starting to come across. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Do try and spread the word on the page and on the community page that we lost our other Q&A. I was cut off. Perhaps Facebook didn't like what we were talking about at all. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Come back in for the few final moments. We were talking about Mike Robbins' desire for an ancient battle tour of Greece. And where would we go? Welcome back. Don't know what happened at all. So sorry indeed. Kind of lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning back in for a second time. Good afternoon. Welcome back indeed. So we talked about Marathon as a great place to go to, but Thermopylae, because it's a great example of how much the landscape has changed. Thermopylae, as we should be expecting it from all the ancient sources, is a narrow pathway that could be defended by just 300 Spartans against the massive marauding kind of Persian forces. But if you go there today, you find it to be a very open and easily negotiable wide area. And that shows you quite how much the landscape has changed, in that there's been great erosion of the kind of coast and the sea path at this stage. And what was once a narrow channel, narrow kind of pathway through, has become a very open landscape, which they've actually now ploughed the motorway through on one side as well. So you can still get there to the site, and most importantly, you can see the copy of the stone of the inscription supposedly left by the Spartans. Tell those people who come here of the 300 Spartans who stood here and bravely fought to the death. So Thermopylae is still a definitive favourite. Salamis, I'm a big fan of. Actually getting out on a boat, if you can, into the narrow straits of Salamis, just imagining yourselves on those triremes piled in there fighting away, or going over to Salamis itself and you can go to the bay where the Athenian triremes mustered before heading out to fight that battle. And in Invisible Cities Athens, we were actually doing a bit of diving around in that bay, trying to find some of the kind of early remains of the kind of harbour area there. But then my two favourites, by far, Chaeronea, the battlefield of Chaeronea, the great showdown between Philip of Macedon and the forces of the rest of mainland and the Peloponnesian Greece, coming together to fight it out for leadership over the whole of Greece in the latter part of the 4th century. BCE, Battle of Chaeronea, absolutely astonishing landscape. You can climb up the hillside on the right-hand side to a viewing platform that gives you an enormous view stretching out across the entire plain. You can see the supposed monument to the Macedonian dead that's now covered over with poplar trees in one part, but you can also go and see the great stone lion of Philip that he set up, which supposedly sits over the top of the 300 Theban elite soldiers who were buried underneath. And when it was excavated, there were lots of skeletons found, and they did all have horrific battle injuries, sort of axes in their heads and stuff like that. So that's a great battlefield site. But one which is totally out of the way, and which I bet your bottom dollar you will have entirely to yourself, is the battlefield of Leuctra. So for here, you have to go down, you have to go near Thebes and to Leuctra. Finding it is quite difficult, but once you're there, in the middle of the fields is the monument put up to Theban victory at Leuctra over the Spartans. And it is, you can have the monument to yourself as you sit and read about the Battle of Leuctra. Again, great early 4th century BCE battle. And there was part of my narrative in the first book I ever wrote, From Democrats to Kings, very, very close to my heart. So, and if you want to go to northern Greece, Actium as well, moving forward in time, obviously, to an Augustus victory, but definitely worth visiting Actium, and you can see the great temple built by Augustus up there as well. So that would be my top spots for an ancient battle tour of Greece. Thank you all for coming back in and joining this second part of the Q&A. Hopefully we won't have too many kind of troubles in the future. Alexis Brown, I'm so sorry we didn't get to your question. And also Paul Hammond, we didn't get to your question. But maybe very, very briefly, can we do it? Paul Hammond, you're travelling off to Sicily next Tuesday. Yikes, we better get this in. And you're asking for particular recommendations in Syracuse of things slightly off the beaten track. Well, two things in Syracuse. One, it's very much on the beaten track, but I think it's astounding. It's the Duomo, the main church in Syracuse, which has still the columns of the original Greek temple that it is built in and around. It was a Greek temple, then turned into a church, then expanded by the Normans, and then has been expanded through the Renaissance. A continual building in use since the 5th century BCE. Absolutely brilliant. And then secondly, totally off the beaten track, you will probably have read this relatively to yourself. Syracuse also has the oldest Jewish mikveh in Europe, dating back to 600 CE. That you can visit as a tourist location as well. So you can do those two things. You can cross ancient Greek paganism with Christianity, with the history of Judaism and the Jewish community in Syracuse as well. Absolutely worth it. Amy's seen it. There we go. She can evaluate it and tell you that it's brilliant as well. Phil, have a great trip. Let us know about your trip, kind of Paul Hammond, and let us send in some photos as well. Kind of send in some photos to the Facebook page. We can share them around on the community page. We'd love to vicariously eat Sicilian granita and gelato through you over the next couple of weeks. Everyone, take care. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of this week and the weekend when it comes. The next time we're going to be able to gather together for a live Q&A is the 20th of October. Bit of a delay because there's a lot coming up in the diary. We'll be sharing upcoming events with you shortly. But 20th of October, 5 p.m. UK time. I'll be there. I hope you guys will be too. Thank you so much for those in crazy time zones that have been getting up, for those in Australia, etc. And we'll let you know when that Ancient Battle Tour booking opens. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Bye.